I'm wondering if they heard me. I'm gonna because I didn't turn my face on. So, anyways, enough of that. Mondays is Texas Front Porch, 7:30 in the East. Tuesdays, Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR comes on at 9 o'clock in the East. Jason McLean does something called Mysterious Library on Untold Radio. That's 10 o'clock in the East. That's on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, Jason McLean questions everything, 9 o'clock in the East. Thursday, brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, 1 o'clock in the East. Tonight, the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. Go subscribe. They're on Thursdays, 9 in the East. If you need a little more booze with a mixture of the woo, Friday nights, 9 o'clock in the East. And don't forget our lovely friend Jessica Jones, Spaced Out Radio on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 10 o'clock in the East. And I'm going to bring up Krista. And Krista, when I started the show, I had the music going, but my face wasn't on. I'm wondering if you guys, did you hear the first part of the show? So you just heard the Monday through Friday gig?
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to redo that. Everybody's heard it. Just subscribe to our channels, Texas Front Porch, Blondes Booze Paranormal Podcast, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Hello to everybody in chat. That's what happens when I just woke up 59 minutes ago. And I forgot to hit the damn screen monitor. But you know what?
It could have been a lot worse, so it's okay.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse. We got Brown Dwarf, and I introduced him during that, and everyone missed it. He'll be up in just a second. Yep. Before we get started, Krista, how has your day? My day just started. So what about you? What you been up to today so far?
I have been all over God's country today. I've had a cold all week. Now my kid has it, so took her to the doctor, and then we went and got lunch, and here we are.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. I'm going to get right into it because we got a fantastic guest. Brown, I'm going to bring you up. It is.
Happy rising.
Happy rising indeed.
Yeah, it's still morning out here out in the West Coast. So good morning, good afternoon.
Wherever
night,
you are.
Wherever you may be. And you might see me, I'm kind of like a little shorter than usual. I'm sitting on a 5-gallon bucket in my one of my sister's rooms, and I got my phone on a display case. So I'm shorter than usual.
Yeah, well,
whatever
works. At least you got that gleaming smile that we're all accustomed to. Because you've been hitting the circuit. I've seen you on several shows. And in fact, you were supposed to be on, I think, Tuesday, and you said, "Man, Rob, I'm sorry, man, I'm booked. I should have." But you hooked me up with a great guest. We had Mike on from Long Island, Mike, and that was a fantastic, Bigfoot Mike, Long Island Bigfoot, and that was a great show. So I thank you for that because, Mike was in my Rolodex. Rolodex, that's an old term. He was in my phone. But you made that suggestion. He came on. It was a great show. I do appreciate you, buddy, and thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I just love how things like that work out. Because I had no idea, obviously, what day it was, and we were just talking about how men are kind of this organized mess. So I had plans with someone else, and no idea what day. And then he hits me up and he's like, hey, can you send me those photos and this and that? I'm like, oh yeah, for the show next week. And he's like, no, and I had already spoken to you. You had asked me, if I could do you a little favor. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. But then, I made a few phone calls at the last minute and boom, boom, boom. And, that's how things work out, man. And I love it.
That's the universe. And in addition, I'm glad we have the blondes on board, not only because they bring the paranormal side to our team, but yeah, we can take a few tips about being organized. If you'll notice the girls, they'll be writing down notes. They'll be really intently listening. I listen to the guests too, don't get me wrong, but they're writing, they're coming up with things to ask. And, I've got papers all over my work area here, right? And I got some that are dated since like last Christmas that I should probably get rid of, so I go to call somebody. Hey, you just talked to me. And I'm like, okay, you look like an idiot, and you move on. So we could get a chapter from the girls because they are organized and they bring that to us as well.
Yeah. And I've been checking, excuse me, I've been checking out the ladies as of late, and I'm really honored to be on with, of course, Krista here and you, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be doing much typing. Everyone out in chat. And again, Brown Dwarf, thanks, Strangeland, Gary Spike Sr., Sugar, Gene Hudson, Be Kind, Zoe, Glenn, Pat Murphy, Midwest Night Watchers, Joe Weeks. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Boy, there's quite a few people in here ready to see the good old Brown Dwarf. True Origins of the Unknown. You're brand new. Thank you. Letitia Nunnally, good to see you. Chiro. So Susie B, how are you today? I was just talking with Susie B the other day.
Nice.
Anyway, so for people, a lot of people know about Brown Dwarf, but why don't you give us a shakedown, what you've been doing, what you're up to, and how you got started in this crazy business.
So I'm still been in Southern California. Usually I'm based out of Northern California, Southern Oregon. And I've been going up and down the state this past year, and so been spending more time in Southern California. My brother opened up a smoke and skate shop, so we've been focusing our energy there. And but being down here, there is some places where I could keep myself busy, but I haven't, due to gas situation financially, and then having the business going. I've been trying to get out as much as possible, but here in the city, there is, speaking paranormal, a lot of good spots here in Los Angeles for paranormal activity investigations. And there is a scene out here that I'm not tapped into too much, but I know I hear about it, and I know it's out there. And then as far as like Bigfooting and cryptids, is not too far. Right outside of LA, you have the San Gabriel Mountains, the Angeles National Forest, and that stuff bleeds out into San Bernardino County, Riverside, which is going further south. And a lot of people wouldn't think cryptids or Bigfoot would be out in these areas. And some of these areas are deserty too. And there's actually a lot of reports. There's databases you could go check out. You could go online and find reports. And but then this is a topic that I wanted to bring up today also is reports and then sightings and activity. I was listening last night and I got this bit of information that Google has, I guess Google Maps put out this thing where I guess it's like almost like a database, I guess, of mappings of encounters and sightings of UFOs, Bigfoots, and I think even paranormal stuff. I don't know. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
And no, it's first I've heard of it. The only data that I've ever found was like on the BFRO report where they'll have dots of all the states and where Bigfoot sightings were, but nothing that they're not elaborate.
Yeah, and you know what I did like the format of the BFRO where you could go from like state to state and county to county. I really thought that was cool. But as of late, BFRO has been in pretty hot water, with the community and all that.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, people have been I guess submitting reports, and some of these reports have been either altered or somehow the report is not what was being reported by the witness.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks, you know. And I do have friends, excuse me, that are part of BFRO, and these are all good people. You know, I trust these guys. I've been out in the field with these guys. I share information with these guys, and these guys are good. You know, in my book. So I know it's big. It's a big organization, and I know there's a lot of people, and people all, you know, have their differences and views and whatnot, you know. But
and the thing about that too is that's not the first time I heard that. In fact, I heard about this maybe about a year ago. I had on a cool guest, Carter Bouchard. He's from Missouri, actually, Krista, and he was an active member with the BFRO for many years. And again, we're not going to get into like how slamming them, but
right.
He had to drop out because a lot of the reports were sanitized and altered, as you said. And you know what it was, though? See, they're totally. If a report comes over and it's got the woo, it's got orbs, it's got paranormal activity. If it's not straight up flesh and blood ape thinking, which I do not, I'm not in that camp. I hate that word ape anyway when we refer to Sasquatch. Then they might just, if it's a good story, they might put in pieces of it, but anything that's out of the ordinary, or I should say supernatural, boom. It don't go in there. So he actually, he was upset because he left the organization on good terms, I imagine. But and boy, for me and for everybody out there, and if you're a researcher or if you do shows like this and you're looking to do some research and read some stuff, it kind of sucks. That's a lot of important data that these people leave out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And so, you know, and so it makes me question, you know, a lot of things. You know, right now we have in the YouTube scene, there's several good channels and sources where people, and yours being one of them, Rob, I know you're starting to take reports and stuff like that and encounters. And one of them being How to Hunt. You know, I think that's a big one these days, howtohunt.com, Steve Isdall. And my respect to him. You know, a lot of people, you know, when I talk about certain people and I bring up names, I have friends and I know people that follow me and stuff like that, you know, don't get along with certain people. So when I bring up name, you know, it's kind of weird because I know some people are going to be like, oh no, he gets along with him, or, you know, it's all this weird circus that we have here in these scenes. But yeah, so much respect to Isdall and what he's doing. And I believe he's very credible. He's totally, you know, hardcore woodsman. He's legit, you know. And so like a lot of the reports that he gets, you know, I believe, and of course, you know, we have our meters, our BS meters and stuff, you know, when you try to vet out stories or truths and stuff like that. And so I use that when I'm, you know, doing my research into encounters and stuff like that, or when I'm listening to someone, you know. And I feel like a lot of the stuff he's been getting sounds pretty legit and interesting. And some people have started to like submit photos and videos and stuff to him as well. And some of it has been pretty questionable. And there's one that off the bat that comes to mind, and it's like it's a dogman or werewolf type creature, and it looks like intense. And what we're seeing these days is a lot of the CGI. You know, there's always been talk about like CGI and hoaxing videos and stuff like that. But as of late, I don't know what app it is or if it's several apps, but it's like these AI apps that people are using to generate images of whatever. And so you're seeing a lot of these cryptids starting to pop up now. A lot of the Bigfoot ones are popping up, and it's really cool. I really love it. I love art. Some of it looks amazing, and some of it does. You know, you can obviously tell it's not real, but some of it's starting to look really real, man, and questionable. And people are starting to pass this stuff off as real videos. So I'm starting to see these videos now of these AI images, and they're saying these are real trail cam photos, or it's a real picture from a video. You know, and I'm just like, whoa, hold on here. What's going on? And I know it's happening in the UFO field as well. And so if that's happening, I know it's going to be easy for the paranormal too, for that to happen. So I don't know if that's happening, Krista. If you've been noticing that or anything like that,
Not
Rob?
really. Not really. More so in the cryptid, I have heard about that before, for sure.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the thing, like, people that are faking this kind of stuff, it makes it look bad for the ones who really do have true pictures. It's either too good to be true or too blurry to be true, or
Right.
there's a happy middle somewhere. Got to be.
Yeah, and that just makes our jobs all that much more difficult now, right? For researchers, for accurate data. God, I hope I hope it doesn't get flooded with that. Let's just say.
Well, the flood is happening already, Rob, because it's been off the hook. I was actually talking to Long Island about it the other day, and I'm totally cool, because some people are using it as their thumbnails, which is great. They look awesome, or their avatars, and that's totally cool. But yeah, I'm starting to question the ones with the titles that are like, this is an actual creature, and the thing is also is that people are just eating it up, man. You see the views and the likes, and people like in the comments are like, well, and I'm like, dude, I mean, I don't think it's real. Some of these. Now, could some of them be real? Possibly. And that's why, we look into them, we question them, we try to share this information, bounce it off each other, and try to figure it out. Because I do believe in the supernatural aspect of these beings. And so, yeah, some interesting stuff happening right now. And then,
that is interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the first I've heard of it. And it just goes. And here's the thing that sucks too, is because let's say that you do, like, a lot of people, as you both know this. If somebody has like that picture and they've seen a Bigfoot, and it is, and they took it, and they were one of the lucky ones to not get a blob squash, and they got a nice vivid image. By the way, I don't know. I see some orbs floating around in the background. I don't know. That's got to be the sun moving in. I was distracted all right in back of you on the wall. But that's got to be something. It can't be an orb.
I thought I noticed something. It might have been a bird flying outside.
Yeah, okay. It might have been a shadow.
But good eye, Rob. Good eye.
But, yeah,
But no. Be alert, because the energy is high up in this room right now. So you might get anomalies like that. And I know Jessica Jones had some happen recently.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it happens, and it always happens on these types of shows. This happened a couple times. You do this long enough. I was backstage. This is our 109th show, and I've seen some pretty crazy things. Yeah. And thank you. And in fact, there was a person, not to get off topic, that said they saw someone over my shoulder. We had like a psychic medium on Kristen. This is like 8-9 months ago, before I even met you guys. They said they'd seen something over my right shoulder.
Wow.
And they said, "Don't freak out, Rob. It's good, positive energy." I'm like, I kind of, looking, what the hell, But the stuff right now does happen.
Yes, and right now that you're mentioning that, remind me later, because something's been happening at the shop that I want to bring up, and it's kind of paranormal like, and yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on, but let's get into it. Krista had mentioned blurry right now, and this is, while we're on this, another thing that I want to mention and talk about is also the complaints of blurry images and videos and stuff. And a lot of these videos some of them are old, and people, we're in 2023. People are like, where's the 4K images and so the blurry thing. So I've been, especially on TikTok, I've been hearing a lot of that, because over there we're sharing videos, we're sharing pictures and all that. And I've recently started doing it on the YouTube, and I'll explain a little more on that later. But a lot of the people over because it's a different crowd over on TikTok, and it seems like with technology and the quickening of everything, information moving faster, people want, in TikTok, you have a certain amount of time to do videos. And so you got a certain amount of time to get your point and whatever it is. And so they just want it quick, and it's just like, boom, boom, where are the videos? Where's it, where's it at? Bam, bam, bam. And it's just like a consumption. And this is something that you can't push either. You can't make videos happen on purpose. You can't make these activities, this phenomenon happen on cue. It's just
right.
But
absolutely.
And so, yeah, so over there, you know, and then they're complaining a lot about it, the blurry and once again here on YouTube also. But so I'm questioning, and I've been talking to a buddy, and he's like, you know what if these things are born blurry, you know? And I was just like, what? Like, you know, and
Yeah.
it was a great laugh, you know,
Well,
but, you know,
let's
so
hold
the
that.
question.
Yeah, we'll hold that thought right quick because I just got bombarded with a couple super chats. Midwest Night Watchers. Thank you for that.
Thank
And of
you.
course, and to my lovely friend, Be Kind. Very kind of you. I appreciate you too. Be Kind. Thank you so much. Great way to wake up. Thanks, everybody.
You have the best people in the chats.
I do have to say, Brown, and I'm not saying this because it's our chat rooms across the board on all our channels. We got great people out there. So I love each and every single one of you guys for tuning in, showing the love, the support, sharing us out, whatever you can do. I appreciate, whether it's monetarily or whether it's just spreading the good word. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah. And thank you, Be Kind, also for that. And I believe Be Kind and I are going to be working on some stuff for the future, some pretty cool, positive stuff. Cool. And hopefully everyone should be able to get involved. And so stay tuned for that.
That sounds cool. Awesome.
That's awesome. So reverting back, we were talking about the blurry. You're just finishing up with. Are these things born blurry is what it was.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny. And but yeah, so yeah, you know, could it be that these beings, and I'm very much on board with because I do believe we're in an energetic world, a world of vibrations and frequencies, and I do believe these beings could be vibrating at a higher or lower frequency depending on the being. And that's where you get these what we call paranormal or supernatural aspects of the phenomenon. And so could it be that when these things are being recorded or pictures are being taken, that they're vibrating at a frequency to where it makes them look blurry, or to where that, they're able to disappear in and out of this reality, this dimension? You know, and so that's why I don't knock the blurry pictures. I don't knock a lot of the stuff that's out there. So I question it all, man.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The blob Squatch picture. That's something they could be that we could be capturing them moving into another portal or dimension to move, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you believe, Brown Dwarf, that some people, like when you see a blurry picture, because I'm the first to admit it, you know, I've been into the paranormal. So, you know, a lot of stuff is pareidolia. So my mind has opened a lot to, you know, the cryptid side of it and the pictures.
Yes.
However, you know, I'll look at pictures that people swear there's, you know, 5 dogmen in this picture, and I don't see it. So do you believe maybe some people can really see these 5 dogmen, and it truly is, where I just, for some reason, I don't see it?
You see, and that's a great question, because I asked myself the same thing, you know, because sometimes I don't see it. And, you know, I know a lot of people complain about people that do the little red lines or arrows and the circles, but actually I don't mind it, because if it helps me take a look at what you're trying to show me, then I appreciate that, because sometimes I'm looking at things and I don't see it.
Yeah,
I don't see it. And it could be a good friend or someone that I trust and is reliable. And I need some help to be able to, you know, pick it out or figure out what it is. And then there's sometimes where they don't need to say anything, and I'm just like, boom, 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 there, you know, I could see it.
Yeah.
And or sometimes I'll spot anomalies that they won't spot, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, and I wonder, so maybe in some cases, is it that maybe they are seeing what we're not seeing, you know, and you know, so we got to keep that in mind as well. And then also a big issue also these days is I know it's been kicked around, is the mental health too, you know. You know, we got to be very careful with these topics and the health of our mental state, as well, you know, when looking into these things and what we're reporting and what we're experiencing. So yeah, I do question a lot of those pictures for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. But however, you know, my philosophy, I live by it. I wasn't there when it was taken. I didn't need my other senses, you know, the other senses go on other than just seeing the picture, you know. People, you know, did they hear something, smell something? You know.
Mhm. Yes, and you hit you hit it on the head right there again. Also, is like these days I've been kind of using that myself also, but I hear a lot of other people using it. It's like, were you there? You know, so yeah, we could have our opinion, but you don't really know if you really weren't there and didn't experience, you know, whatever had happened. So
right, absolutely. Oh,
Thank
Susie.
you. Yes, thank you so much, Susie B. Love you. Appreciate the
Thank you.
support. And you know,
okay, yeah, cool, Susie B. Yeah, we'll work something out so we get some gas money. We'll work it out to where it's even and it works out for everyone.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's funny too. You were mentioning, Brown, about how some people can see things and others cannot. And I always thought I was maybe dreaming it. And I've told this story before that I used to see what I thought was ghosts when I was a little kid growing up in my bedroom. It would be on the back wall. But I would wake up my brother and I would be looking at something. I said, you know, get up, get up. I wake him up and I said, look, can you see that? And it's clear to me, it's clear as day on the back wall. He just looks at it, you know, he kind of does one of these with his eyes looking. And again, we're 8, 9, 10 years old, whatever, 7, maybe. I don't know. We were pretty young. No, I don't see nothing, bro. You know, whatever. I don't think he said bro at 7, brother or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, oh man. So this would happen a couple times throughout my lifetime. But now I know they're ghosts because I seen the same thing when I was like 35 years old, married in my bedroom. And I woke up, seen this thing, go over to the wife, wake her up. You see that? No, I don't see it. And I have twice as a kid and as an adult. And it's just weird how some people can pick up on this stuff. And I bet, Krista, you get that all the time too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I also feel like when your mind is open, you know, not everybody is meant to see it as a child, or, you know, maybe there's something spiritually, you know, they're not ready. They can't handle it either mentally or physically at that time. So that's why, you know, some people don't say anything till they are an adult. That's my belief, you know, that they just weren't ready or in the right mind frame, you know.
And for me, it's happened to where, like, I've mentioned the orb activity on the property, and so I would wake up my queen, my wife, and be like, "Hey, look, this is going on," and she would, you know, look and see and acknowledge what was happening, and I'm pumped up, and she's ready to go back to bed. She's like not really interested. She's like, "Okay," but I'm like sitting out there for hours documenting and tripping out, and she's in La La Land.
Yeah.
You know, since we're talking a little bit on ghosts, and I know we got some other things to cover today. And Brown, I said whatever you want to talk about is cool with me. But I do have a question, and this might be more of a fan thing. Being that you're from LA, Hollywood, have you ever? There's a lot of haunted places in Los Angeles, LA, and all around. I often heard that the Viper Room is something. You heard of the Viper Room? Now, is that just a Hollywood thing, or is that really something going on over there?
Watch it trip out. So I have lived on. So that's on the west side. That's West Hollywood, and I have lived out there, just a few blocks from the Viper Room. There used to be a Tower Records, and up that hill. I actually lived there for several years, man. And so the Viper Room was just all that Sunset Strip, all those clubs are right there. And so if I'm not mistaken, the Viper Room was owned or possibly still owned by Johnny Depp. And Phoenix, so Joaquin Phoenix and River Phoenix, right? The brothers. So it was River who overdosed outside of the Viper Room. And I don't know if there's been any other tragedies like that there, but I have heard a lot of these places are haunted. A lot of the theaters in Hollywood, a lot of the movie theaters, so the hotels. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if that place is haunted, man.
One of the big TV shows did an episode of the Viper Room, and
Wow.
River Phoenix was coming through, like EVPs and stuff.
Whoa.
So,
See, I had not heard of that,
yeah.
and that's tripping me out right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we always, now that I'm learning so much more about the paranormal, we always talk, I'm a big guy with this energy, right, Brown? Right, Krista? Energy.
Hey.
I've got to imagine that there's a whole lot of weird energy going to Los Angeles. I mean, you've got positive all the way down to deep and dark, I bet.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I do believe that Hollywood, may the film industry or the music industry, it does have a very dark occult side to it, and a lot of that stuff is being revealed and coming to the surface, and people are talking about it. Is it all true? I don't know. Some of the stuff is very, very bizarre, and I don't know if you want to mention some of that stuff, but people are talking about adrenochrome and stuff these days, the adrenal glands, and you hear about sacrifices and these weird rituals, and I do believe it's going on, in the Hollywood scene and on many other levels. There's secret societies involved as well, and a lot of this, we're talking about how a lot of these things are I believe a lot of it's tied in. I do believe it's true. So I think within the occult as well, there's these high-ranking people, wealthy people, people in high places in society, and they're learning information, and some of that information has to do with these cryptids, these aliens, these UFO, this phenomenon that we are into. So and with that, we're talking about the dark side of things. I try to balance things out these days, man, and really getting in touch with my creator and my God, my source. People like to personify that and give it names, and there's different religions and all that. I keep myself open to whatever information rings the bell of truth inside of me, so I could take things from different religions, different cultures, and apply it in my life, and just really been doing it these days, and getting into the meditation and raise the vibration. And as I've been mentioning, as corny as that sounds, man, it's been helping me. It's real stuff. And yeah, man, it's
well, I have to tell you, when we first started talking backstage, you put off a very good vibe, a very higher level vibration. You really do. You really do.
I appreciate that
for you.
And likewise, so so if I'm bouncing that off, hopefully that, and I feel that it's gonna bounce off you, and I got the same feeling with Rob. I mentioned we're gonna open up a portal, and that's what we did. As soon as you hit that record, Rob, is the portal's open.
Yeah.
Here we are.
And we're sitting backstage. We're going to cover everything from the paranormal to Bigfoot and everything else. So we got a little bit of everything. But what you said, though, wasn't corny, because I tell you what, isn't it strange? You have a Bigfoot encounter, a paranormal encounter, and it changes your life a lot of times in a positive ways. Now you become more into meditation, knowing more about yourself, knowing more about your surroundings, the people around you, maybe being a little more intuitive, or maybe something as nice as trying to understand our fellow human being because of these things. Because it's not all negative. Yes. A lot of this you turn into a positive and helps you in life be a better person.
Definitely. And I feel like for me, the Sasquatch people have been doing that, because I feel is getting into that topic and trying to figure out who they are, what they are, and like building this relationship has really opened me up also to other aspects of nature, learning about trees. I love mushroom hunting. I've learned about mushrooms now, and I go mushroom picking, berries, different plants, edible plants, poisonous plants, poison oak, and just learning all that stuff, and it's so much more. It's a lot more than Bigfoot, and I feel they've been teaching me that, because being into that topic, all that other stuff comes along with it. So it's been very positive for me. And yes, there's been scary encounters and moments, and you hear the horror stories out there, and And I get it. It's frightening, you know, to have these huge, hairy, naked, human-like, you know, it's far out, man. And not to mention other cryptids and beings. So, but no, it's been very positive for me. And then, and at the same time, so some of the videos like on my TikTok, and I've been recently doing these YouTube shorts. I figured out how to do this green screen thing. And I guess it gives you like 15 seconds or so, and you're allowed to take clips from videos, and you could, you know, do whatever you want for 15 seconds, and you could post it. And so I've been questioning a lot of the videos and stuff, and I lost my train of thought there. Where were we?
the 15-second videos.
Yeah, so I've been, you know, doing so. And then I was mentioning TikTok. Yeah, no, I lost it, Rob. It'll come back.
We were talking about being on a higher vibration.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah. So some of the videos, so I've been showing like certain videos and certain information. And so some of the videos, you know, you could put music. And so some of them are a dark vibe, because some of them are scary. They're scary videos, you know, and also people like that, you know. In the documentaries, you get the, you know, the synth sounds and the vibes, and so, you know, you kind of apply that as a YouTube. Also, you know, so I'm learning to be a YouTuber, I guess, or a content creator or whatever. But, you know, kind of meshing it with my reality, you know, and adding my content, sharing my content, and all that, you know. So a lot of it could be kind of dark, you know, so we got to be able to balance that out somehow. So there is a lighter side, a very light side to all this as well. And I do want to tap into that more. Salute, Jessica Jones, blessings.
I
so,
thought you'd like that one, the vibe tribe.
Yeah, definitely want to pump out more of that, more love vibes and those higher vibes, you guys. You know, we could do that. And so by doing that, you know, we're going to raise each other up and avoid some of these more negative situations that we're talking about with people and possibly with these beings.
Yeah.
And I got to, everybody in chat. Now, I've just seen another orb, and I'm not making this up, and I would not do that on purpose. So if anybody, please, if you see it,
I will say, okay, I can debunk
show.
that one. I've seen it too.
You can debunk it? Okay.
Do you have a bracelet or something on, Brown?
I have. Yeah, here we go. A watch.
Yes. So
okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Debunked.
There we go.
Boom.
Yeah.
Good eye though, Rob. Good eye.
You know,
good eye, but debunked.
The longer I do this stuff, the more sharp. I'm more intuitive now. I got that third eye going, as JJ would say.
That's what's up. And you see, and to be able to question. And then us, you know, all right, what could it, you know, and debunk. And that's what I love doing. And that's what I'm doing with my channel right now. And just, you know, putting out this stuff and hey, what do you think? Or what, you know, let's chop it up.
Yeah. You know, and as simple as that was, what I just said, and there it is again, it's your watch is floating around.
Yeah.
But it was great. I think I saw something, and my partner debunked it. And people in chat are now saying, yeah, they saw it. So, and that's really true research. That was not research there, but it was just having an open mind and look around, and you always question everything, because I think that in research, you got to try to debunk everything so you can be confident presenting the data to somebody. That's what I do.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Whenever we go in somewhere, we try to find a reasonable explanation for it before we even say something's paranormal or, you know. So that's exactly what we did. We just made a good team right there.
Oh, yeah. And so, Krista, I would imagine you also, like, before scouting or finding a place, I would imagine you try to maybe find if there's any history there of some sort.
Well, we usually, when we do like private cases, usually we go in blind and we just talk with the homeowners, and then we go back and we validate. We'll go to like the assessor's office, find out previous owners, and we do that kind of stuff after.
Yeah, because that's what I've kind of done. I was mentioning the database, you know, because I was using like BFRO and other sources. And I would go to these places where these reports were happening, and luckily in some of these places I was finding, you know, some of these stick structures and some of the activity that's associated with these Sasquatches. And so, you know, so I do think that, yeah, some of these databases, there is data and information there for sure. So I don't knock it all either. Like people say, take it with a grain of salt as well. And so that's what I like as well, to be able to, you know, all right, have a location and then go and find out for myself. You know, that's what I like to do as well, is, you know, check for myself. And yeah.
Yep.
You know, you mentioned, so we'll turn this just a little bit here. Now, Tex, if Tex was here, you mentioned structures. Now, where you live, well, when you're in Oregon or Northern Cali or wherever you're at, now you've got those trees that are what, 12 foot wide, 90 foot tall. I mean, explain. I've never seen a redwood. What, before we get into this, describe those. For those
It's
who don't know.
like no other tree for sure, man. They are massive, especially the old growth, you know, the little bit that's left of them are huge. Some of them you could actually there's spots where you could they have a drive-through tree, so you could like literally drive through the trees. Some of these trees sometimes have these cavities in them, and they're like these doors, and you could literally go inside them and live inside of a redwood, dude. And so I could imagine a Sasquatch living inside of a redwood. And I've heard of reports of them actually living on top, on the canopies of the redwoods. There's been reports of them shimmying up and down the redwoods. And so, yeah, these trees are amazing. And you definitely get a like a ancient vibe. I call them like the grandpas, the grandfathers and grandmothers. And they're just magical, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, I was talking with Krista backstage. Never been to California. I wouldn't really want to live there, I don't think, but I love to visit it. You know, because it's just got so much over there. I'd probably get lost over there. But I'd like to visit just to see the forest. And so anyway, when I was talking about Tex, now he and I differ a little bit when it comes to structures. I think structures are built by Sasquatch or maybe some other cryptids, where he thinks a lot of it, he doesn't know. He doesn't really know. I'm not going to speak for Tex, but I'm more pro than he is. He attributes a lot to deadfall, and I get it, and things of that nature. And that happens. And again, that's another thing that you have to distinguish. You have to see if they're woven together. I mean, you can tell when something's made or if something just fell.
Yeah, definitely.
But the structures you've probably seen in your area here in Michigan, 10, 12 feet, I might have seen pictures of, right? But where you're at, is it true that they can get to 20, 30, 40, 90 feet tall? And also, what do you think the purpose is behind a tree structure?
Yeah. So with the structure phenomenon, it's a little tough, you know, and for most people, it's a little weird too, because you have your bushcraft, you know, I totally get that, survivalists, Boy Scouts, and then you got your, you know, you call them your homeless or travelers, your hobos that come through. We get a lot of those up there, and they, you know, could build stuff as well. And there's certain towns where actually there's like, you know, because we do have certain towns that have drug issues and stuff and homelessness, and they have their little camps where they, you know, set up their tents and their little structures. But I could totally tell a difference between like the homeless and these other structures. And these other structures, sometimes you'll find human things in them. You know, you'll find bottles or like just little random things in there. And but that we have to question as well, because I've been in touch with other people that are finding very similar style structures as I am, and some of them could be really big, like you mentioned, and some of them could be micro, like tiny. I've seen micro versions of these huge structures, and in the oddest places. And what happens also is I've been taking note of weird things happening when I'm examining or inspecting these structures. Things have happened. I had mentioned recently, I was checking out this area where I see structures go up. So they go up, they go down, they get rearranged. And so I'm in one of my areas, it's Redwood Grove, and I'm looking at these new structures that had gone up. It was very simple. It was just a bunch of pieces of wood lined up next to each other. And as I'm checking that out, the loudest tree break off to a short distance just went off, man. It sounded like a
Wow.
gun. And I was just like, whoa, you know, blood started rushing, and I just knew something was there. Now, could that have happened naturally? Yeah. I've seen trees fall in front of me several times, and I'm, you know, I've had other people mention that as well. So, you know, yeah, I do believe that could happen. But then I think once it happens more than 3 times, it's kind of like, whoa, what's up? And I've heard trees fall, several times as well. Does that happen naturally? Yes. But like I say, once it happens more than more than 3 times, it's like, you know, you really question it. So yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know if I answered your question. If I
No,
did,
yeah, no,
got
you paint a
back,
good
Rob.
picture. You know, again, everybody's got varying opinions on that. I think that they are made, a lot of them, and a lot of them. Now, how you just described, I can see these things are so big. I can see the homeless chilling out there, living there, right? Or hobos.
Yes.
I mean, and it provides probably some better shelter than some of these, how shall I say, low rent districts. You know,
Yeah.
really, where there's always something bad going on.
Yeah.
At least
Oh
you're
yeah.
out in the woods, and if you can fend for yourself a little bit, not
Yeah.
my choice of how to live, but hey, you know what? We all create our own
Mm-hmm.
wealth or poverty, right?
Yep. And so I found myself again here. So we were talking to the structures. So another thing
Yeah.
that's happened around the structures is I'd find weird little things, which once again could be humans, but a lot of people report that have gotten gifted like feathers. I found rock stacks, these fake, what we call fake fire pits. So they'll make like a fire pit out of rocks, and sometimes they'll even put pieces of wood in there, but they won't burn it, or it'll just be a ring of rocks and nothing burnt inside of it. So it's almost like they're mimicking or mocking us, like a campground. And also, what's happened around the structures is I've noticed they would pop up overnight in certain areas. So I would go check one of my areas, and man, I had my areas monitored. I would hit these areas like I was on top of it, and so I would notice that structures would be popping up overnight. And yeah, some of these areas were on the beach, and some of them were in the forest. And the beach thing was like, oh wow, you know, okay, it's people on the beach, but some of these reports that I was looking into, a lot of the reports have been on the beach and in these areas where I'm finding the structures. And so the structures have also reminded me almost of like the crop circle phenomenon, you know, because I
Wow.
believe the crop circle is a real phenomenon. Some of
Mm-hmm.
them, yeah, hoax, possibly, yes, but I do think there's something there. So it's almost like that. And we've looked into it as far as like there was a group out there, and I kind of did a little bit, and we were kind of like looking into like, well, maybe are these structures facing maybe a certain what do you call it, astrological
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
constellations, certain stars. You know, we were questioning stuff like that, because some of the entrances of the structures, sometimes you could go inside them, like the teepees and stuff, the entrances would be facing either away from the water a lot of times, or because a lot of times they're near water, they would be facing certain ways. So I started questioning that, and I'm like, well, maybe is it to like block wind, or are they facing a certain way, you know, when if they're sitting in there? I don't know, there's so many questions, but a lot of bizarre things have happened. And I even found this huge structure in this one area that's gotten a lot of reports right by the ocean, but there's also a fresh body of water right next to it. And this area is known for their elk. There's a bunch of elk around, and so there's this huge structure I found there, and right next to the structure I found an elk kill. And I
Oh,
Wow.
was like,
wow.
whoa, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and definitely documented that. And so, you know, all this stuff that I've documented is posted on my channel. It's just my channel's a mess, organized mess, like us guys do. And so, yeah, if there's
Yes.
anything out there that we're talking about, anyone wants to talk, you know, see
Yeah.
on video or whatever,
And,
I could, you know, let me
yeah.
know in the messages, and I could post the link there later. And but yeah, the stick structures, man, there's definitely something there. Like I said, some of them are huge caliber, and some of them are tiny.
Yeah, I think in the second half we will get into some of your adventures that you can
Mm-hmm.
describe to us. My thought on the structures, I always thought that perhaps it was again navigation or even marking their Sasquatches. Maybe it's their territory marker or something.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
know, the
talking about
ward
like
up.
X's and stuff like that you find?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
X's, and even in some of the teepees, you'll find the X's and stuff there too. So
Okay.
and I look at stuff like that. So when I go and look at these structures sometimes, so if I'm questioning, if it's a Boy Scout or something like that, then I'll look for further things like X's and like the rock stack, or just certain things that might
Right.
stick out more. And in some of these, around some of these structures, I have found tracks. So
Wow.
Yes, and that's great corroborative evidence, as they would say on Law and Order. I guess corroborates it. And he also, it amazes me too, and I know this is Sasquatch. Well, I can't say I know, right? But when you've got these trees that are humongous, and I'm not saying about the 40-foot wide ones that are literally pulled out the roots and then the top is shoved back in the ground and bent over into an arch, that is some power and some strength. And I think that's certainly got to be Sasquatch, right? I mean, what else would it be? It's not no human being.
And if they are masters of energy, like I do believe they are, then they could manipulate whatever it may be, Yeah. Boys kind of high pitch there. But yeah, I believe.
Hey, you learn something every day. As I said, this is our 109th show, and we all talk about the energy portals and transferring, and it really don't even have to be the Sasquatch pulling it out of the ground at all, right? He could just be manifesting that, right?
Oh yeah, and you hear about them like being able to I've heard of them being able to fuse themselves like into trees, into boulders, into different things. Once again, that energy, they're able to manipulate and use to their advantage. And I believe some of them could do that. And then some people talk about them disappearing and stuff like that. I question myself too. Also, could these Sasquatch people have do they have souls like us? And I believe they do. So maybe could there be spirits like the ones that disappear and stuff like that? Could those be like the spirits of those that have passed?
I think that's a great topic to take on into the second hour, because we got to put a pin in it for everybody listening to iHeart Radio and Odyssey Radio. You got to come back, subscribe to the Bigfoot Mystery Rob channel, Texas Front Porch channel to get the second half. And we'll talk a little bit about souls of Sasquatch, and just as you like to refer to them, Brown Dwarf, the Sasquatch people. So we got to take a 5-minute break, take care of our sponsors, and we'll be back with more Brown Dwarf and his adventures. Thank you.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome back to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Really quickly, thank you so much, Midwest Night Watchers, for the awesome super chat. Be kind, and Susie B. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you to everybody in chat. You know, for those of you that are newer, you might be saying, "Hey, Rob, how come I've said hi to you like 10 times, you're not responding back?" We do stream on the Bigfoot Michigan Rob channel and Texas Front Porch channel. So there's people, all chat rooms. We got like 70 people combined together in all the rooms. So if you want to, just to let you know, because I know it's confusing for some people, but we have 2 shows going. And don't forget, Mondays is Texas Front Porch at 7:30 in the East. Mondays. Tuesdays is Van Buren Variety. That's 8 o'clock in the East. My Beyond BMR is again at 9 in the East. That's on Tuesday nights. Jason McLean does something called Mysterious Library on Untold Radio AM, 10 o'clock in the East. Then Wednesdays, Jason McLean questions everything. That's 9 o'clock in the East on Wednesdays. Thursday, right back here, Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob at 1 in the East. Tonight, we got the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. Please subscribe if not already, 9 o'clock in the East. And if you need a little more booze, well, they bring the woo on Friday nights, the Blondes and Booze and the Woo, 9 o'clock in the East. And, of course, Jessica Jones. Spaced Out Radio on the weekends, 10 o'clock in East Saturday and Sunday. Go check her out. And Brown Dwarf, everyone subscribe to Brown Dwarf. I'll have the link in my description page after the show. And if any of the mods out there can grab it, I would appreciate if you would post it. Again, thanks for the super chats. And we're going to get back into this here. Bring up the lovely Krista and Brown. We're bringing him up. Thanks once again, Brown Dwarf, man. Fantastic show. Mm-hmm. You just got so much going on with the paranormal Bigfoot. And we haven't even touched on UFOs. We got a lot to go over here. And so we were just talking, though, Brown, you're talking about the Sasquatch people and talking about the souls. And, you know, I believe they have a soul for sure. Now, here's my take on Bigfoot. I think they're flesh and blood, but they're supernatural. They got the paranormal element. That's my take.
For sure. Okay. And I think that's, for me, it's the best take because you could tap into what they call the aper world or whatever, the flesh and blood, but you also could open yourself to the whole other aspect of it, you know, and not be in some box. You know, I gotta stay open to everything, man. I can't be in a box, and that's with anything. And so I wanted to rewind right quick too when we're talking in the beginning about the Google Maps. And I wanted to say that, there has been a lot of, I've been seeing a lot of videos. Some of the videos are old, but they're new to me. So I think the Bigfoot activity has been pretty hot lately. And speaking of the Google Maps, there's a possible sighting through the Google Maps that was recently reported and actually made the news out of Colorado. I don't know if you guys seen that, but
No.
yeah, I'll send that over to you. And I did post it on my TikTok, but it was a newsreel. And in the newsreel, they actually mentioned that it was a body of water, but everyone
Wow.
else seems to be questioning it still. So I don't know. You guys check that out. I'm sure you could look it up, maybe Colorado Google Map, and it should pop up. But just want to throw that out there. So some of the fresh and new Bigfoot stuff that's happening out there.
Very cool.
That's really cool. And now that you just got me thinking, I get people that'll send in on Google Map and the Google Maps, like on Google Earth. People are. I got a couple people sent me to look at. I just can't find it. That they've seen Sasquatch on actually Google Earth. And to me, when you hone in on something, it's very difficult. Have you been throughout? I know you use a lot of resources. You ever use that before? You think that's a valid, or you think it's just too blurry?
Well, no, I've checked out some because there's several that have popped up through Google, and one of them I believe was through MK Davis, and I respect and trust his judgment and work, and so that was interesting, and I think that should be on his channel. And there's several other ones that popped up that were questionable. And I believe the MK Davis one is out of the Bluff Creek area. So that's pretty cool. So that's going back up in Humboldt, my area. And so, yeah, some of them are questionable. They're kind of blurry, of course. But who knows?
Yeah.
I think it's a good way also to look into areas and look into anomalies. People have found other anomalies. And to get into some really trippy stuff, there's some stuff that I've been looking into as of late. My younger brother's always putting me onto stuff, and then you guys always sharing information. I'm always diving into these rabbit holes. As of late, I've been checking out Mud Fossils University on YouTube. So if you want to get into like real giants and creatures and far out stuff, I think this man is really bringing stuff to the table with biology, science, and all that stuff that people want, and yeah, the creatures, man. There's stuff on this earth, like we were talking with Jessica Jones a lot. These mountains and these mesas and these different rocks that could be actual creatures and that were living things. And so this information is really mind blowing and definitely another big piece to this puzzle that we're all putting together here.
Yeah, thanks. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. That sounds really right up all of our alleys. I know people in chat would like to check that out too. I'm definitely gonna look that up.
I wrote it down.
Oh yeah,
I know you did. I'm gonna get all my notes from Krista when the show ends.
Brown, how long have you been researching?
And people, I don't know what you call it. People would say researching. I'm with researching, investigating, or I'm just a guy with a camera. Call it what you want. I think it's been, as far as YouTube, like I go by YouTube and see my video, and it says, I think it's been like 6-7 years.
Cool.
But honestly, it feels like I just started yesterday. I feel the passion inside of me burning every morning. I mean, it's what keeps me going, all this stuff.
Right.
It's I love it. So yeah, several years.
And that's great. Like you just said, 6 years you've been doing this, and it's like you just started, because every day you learn something different, don't you?
Oh yeah. And that's as far as like the YouTube and documenting. And now that I'm looking in more into like my past and my youth, and starting to make a lot more connections of like, oh, I remember when this happened, could it have been this? And just all these things starting to come together, and it's what keeps me once again going, because I'm getting, people call them synchronicities or whatever. I call it confirmation of questions that I have, and I feel like call it the universe or God answers you, man, and you got to be able to be aware to receive these messages as well, because it'll come in subtle ways or it'll be right in your face, and you got to be able to react and respond properly to these things to be able to move forward in the right direction, I believe.
Right. Awesome. You said you're in LA, and I don't know. I know like where the Patty video was taken from. I know that's more northern. Have you ever been there or close to it?
Yeah, so where I live in Humboldt County, that's where the Patty film was taken.
Okay.
So and I have several, because I have family up there, so I'm always like bouncing around different homes. But we have our homestead, and so from our homestead, it's maybe a couple hours to Bluff Creek.
Oh wow!
And then when we're in town, from town, it's maybe an hour and some change. So it's still far from. We're so close, but yet so far. Humboldt is big and spread out, so everything is far away, but it's all right there.
Wow, gotcha.
And technically, according to the Bluff Creek Project, which is a group out of Humboldt County who have been really researching and pinpointing the whole Patterson, where Patty walked, and where Roger and those guys were, really mapping all that out. I guess technically it's on the border of Humboldt County and Del Norte County, California.
Wow. Interesting.
You just mentioned Humboldt, and that's another thing, and that's just another thing we could go on all day about. I'm sure I've heard a lot of mysteries about that. One thing I got to ask you, because I don't know if I ever asked you this. Have you ever came across an actual Bigfoot encounter? And I don't mean encounter story, but have you actually seen one or think that you have?
Yes. And I don't know if I mentioned it with you last time. I remember when we were on with Jessica, but I've had 2 full body sightings. And there's been a lot of other instances where I believe I've seen them, but it just wasn't a whole like full body. And the first one was on our property on the homestead down in southern Humboldt. And I was on the property, and on the property is all wooded, 40 acres. So rural and private, it's gated. So not many people, just are the people that live in the community there, and everyone's spread out. You don't rarely see anyone. And so anyway, I was headed to this top part of the property, and it's all dirt roads and woods on both sides. It was a summer day. And I'm driving down, and off to the left of me, I noticed, and I mentioned, it looks like one of those cartoon flip books, and it was flickering through the trees, and it looked like a humanoid shape, and it wasn't big, maybe around 5.5 to maybe 6 feet at the most. I couldn't tell because it was moving fast. And I was driving not that fast, but it was paralleling me, and I could tell. And the subject went behind a big oak tree, and I noticed at the bottom of the oak tree a head pop out, and I stopped my rig, and I'm just looking at this thing, and it's a black face, and the figure, like I said, it didn't seem huge or bulky or anything, and it was jet black and blurry. It looked blurry, so I couldn't and so when I'm having this stare down, I could see a full-on black, it was a black hairy face, but I could just see like a gray mask would look like, and I guess it's a skin around the eyes. And I couldn't really even see a nose. It was just like this grayish part. And we had this stare down. I couldn't tell you how long it was. I know I had my phone on me. I didn't pop it out. I didn't hit record. And I just remember just driving off. So I don't know what happened after that there. It was just like, whoa, wow. I was in shock. I knew what I seen. And I didn't bother to get off and go towards it or anything like that. And I just went about my business, and I was in shock. Wow. I told my partner later, I talked to some of the neighbors, and they were just like, all right. And I know one of the neighbors, best friends with my partner, she sees a lot of the orbs and is very open to all this. She's from Mount Shasta. So, so all this stuff. And
that's another weird one, man. You live in the Valley of Strange, man.
Oh, right?
Mount Shasta, Humboldt.
Yeah, so
LA.
We got Humboldt right there. Next to it, we have Trinity County, and next to Trinity is Siskiyou, where Shasta is. And my father-in-law has a cabin up in the mountains in Trinity. So if I'm not in Humboldt, I'm up in the hills in Trinity, and plenty of reports and activity there. And just 45 45 minutes or so from there, you'll be in Siskiyou County. So Shasta is just right across. And I've heard there's actually supposedly these underground tunnels that connect from Mount Shasta to the coast of Humboldt County.
Wow.
You know, I don't know about you, Krista, but we got all these places that we're saying we're going to go to. I got to put this on the list.
Right.
I got to go see Brown Dwarf, man.
Definitely,
Yep.
man. The doors are open, Rob, Krista, Jessica,
Yeah.
any of you guys. I trust you guys. You guys are more than welcome. And like I said, so you got that. So you got those two spots, and then if you head north, so in our place in Oregon, so Mount Shasta is about an hour and a half away from our Oregon place, and then north of there, then you have a Crater Lake about another hour away from the so we got all that stuff going on there, man, and it's just a blessing to be there.
You know what I like what you said where you're telling your first encounter story, how you had your phone on you and you didn't pull it out. The only thing about my encounter, the only people ask me, not all the time, but the most, and I'll just say it's kind of annoying is, and if anybody's heard my encounter, I did not pull out a phone. I had no time. I wasn't thinking of taking no picture when I had all this going on.
Mm-hmm.
And now you just mentioned, you had your phone, and that's just not what we do. I think if you have an encounter like that, I think the last thing you're thinking about is pulling out a phone and snapping a picture. Mm-hmm. So when people get put down because, you didn't get a picture, well, you're full of it. No way, my friend. You're processing something that is not supposed to be here. It's not supposed to be in our universe.
Yeah, and it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And it's happened to me several times where things have happened and I witnessed. For instance, really quick, one, I was headed up into the hills and I seen this thing fly by me. I don't know if it was a predator bird or what, but it was huge and it just didn't give me enough time to pop it out. And it's happened to me several times, Rob, with possible UFOs, orbs and things. But it's a practice also because there's a lot of stuff I have captured. And so it's a thing. I practice with the phone or the camera sometimes, like John Wayne, man. You pop it out the holster.
Well, that's funny you should say practice because this wasn't too long ago. I had my phone on me, and I was pretending that I was like on the trail, but I was in my vehicle, and I was looking for something that I was going to take a picture of and also a video, and just practice. And I'm just driving. I'm doing like 20 miles an hour. So I'm focusing on a church or a person walking down the street. And I got to tell you, and I'm not scared. It's something that's there. We've all seen people in houses. Every video sucked and every picture was blurry, right? And this is just me taking my time. No panic. They still weren't good. So I can you only imagine a lot of these people out there when you're seeing something for the first time. Sorry, like you said, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
That's last thing, honestly, especially, coming across something like a dog, a scary, really scary encounter. So last thing I'm going to do is think about taking pictures of it. I'm going to get the heck out of there,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I've documented several bears. I've gotten mountain lion on FLIR. And let me tell you that could be even wild, regular, your normal wildlife could be scary.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. No. Yeah, I'd be running like a little girl.
Me too. And so, Rob, while I still have it, and Krista, while I have it fresh in my mind, and still, paranormal, Krista, I know this is your field over here. So over at the shop, we recently bought this. Those it's like a door alarm for when someone walks through. It rings a bell, and so this thing is battery powered. And we bought it off some guy off the street. We like to help people out, and plus it was something that we could use, and so we paid $20 for it, and it works. And but what I started noticing, it started going off on its own. So I was like, oh man, maybe it's a faulty one, and so whatever. And I use it usually when I'm just alone there at the shop. So in case if I'm in the back, I can hear someone come in or whatever. And I've been noticing it goes off on its own. And the other day, I noticed it happened and it rang. But when it rang, the whole room of the shop like kind of lit up with this like dark shadow, and it went in sequence of the sound of the alarm. And I was like, okay, kind of questioning like we did with the watch right now. I was like, well, maybe is it traffic? Could it be some of the LED lights that we have on at the shop? And it happened that one time, and then it happened to me yesterday again. And I had mentioned it to my brother, and then it happened yesterday. And so I was like, shoot.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I'm trying to get this on camera for you guys. I've got it to where it rings, but I haven't gotten the shadow part. And we do get a lot of strange people come through there. Skid Row's not too far away, downtown, all that crazy madness. And so we do keep spiritual stuff at the shop, like sage, incense, and Palo Santo. So I am making sure that I do burn my stuff and keep the vibes right in there.
Right, for sure. Most definitely. Yeah, if you get something, let us know. I'd like to see it.
For sure.
For sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, since I was talking to Sasquatch, now you did bring up the paranormal, the supernatural. What's your take on, and maybe you've experienced it, I don't know, the communication with Bigfoot? Like a lot of people claim mind speak or telepathy.
Yes.
What's your thoughts, if it's happened or not, or just your thoughts in general on that, man?
Yeah, I believe it. And I want to say I can't confirm that it's happened to me. I want to say it possibly has, because I feel like a lot of times these structures or like certain areas I get guided to. Now, is that like my higher self? Is that source? Or is it all three, them working with source and all that guiding me? Because I get guided to the structures, and I'll hear it in my head. And I've recently mentioned that I was watching one of my videos, and in the videos I mentioned about a dream. Salute, monk. I had mentioned about a dream, and I was describing in the dream or in the video that I had the dream, and in the dream I had a dream of a structure. And in the video, I did end up finding the structure, if I'm not mistaken, but that was pretty weird. And yeah, that's how I go about it. I go about my feelings, and I get guided to these spots, and I start finding these structures and whatnot. So yeah.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people, you could be guided and not realize that maybe you are being communicated with. You know, you get that feeling that somebody's watching you at the mall, right? And you just get that feeling, or you get that feeling that, you know what, I better, or these people that just avoid getting hit by a car, right? Walking across the street, for whatever reason, something goes off in your mind. Like, you know what, I got to delay for a minute, and then boom, there's an accident. I can't tell you the many times that I've felt things like that.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's because I'm more open now as I gotten older, and I had encounters myself, and now I'm into this, and I meet people like you that teach me, you know, what is it? Opening that third eye, right? The pineal gland. I don't know what the hell to say.
Yes, sir. And yeah, I believe once again that's important, Rob, to be able to not only be aware of like those things, but to be in the right frequency, so that those things don't happen to you. Because I feel and believe that, like, yeah, if you're in a bad vibe or frequency, you know, and you don't get that message to delay for that minute, like you said, then you end up in that accident, you know. And it's like, and then you wonder why. And I don't know, I just feel like certain things, like certain vibrations will keep bringing you more of that. You know, they talk about the law of attraction. So, you know, you got to be aware of your what you're attracting, where you're vibrating, because you're going to bring in more of that. So,
yeah. And I always tell people, even as a young kid growing up, I could always sense a person. I can sum up a person in less than 2 minutes if they're good, bad, or if they have intentions that aren't that are nefarious.
Right.
I can do that. I don't know why I've always been able to do it. And I remember 13 years old, met this kid. I'm not going to give out his name. I was 13, and I got along with all the kids, but there was this one kid that I said, you know what, this kid ain't good. He's not a good person. It's not because I seen him kill a cat or anything. It was just the vibe I got was just weird.
It was go to vibration.
Go to high school. This kid in high school, he failed out of high school, and people drop out, they fail, whatever. But this kid, the reason why he failed is because he was just he was looting homes at a young age. He was arrested at like 18. So I forget about this kid. 15 years later, I'm talking to my mom. You remember that kid you never liked? I go, yeah. Well, he committed murder in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And I had this kid pegged at 13.
Wow. Yeah,
And
no,
I'm
I got tons of stories like that, Rob, and I know Tex had mentioned possibly doing some like true crime stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm totally open to that. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we could talk about like that. And actually, going back, you were talking about the like mind speak and telepathy.
Yeah.
We've heard, and I take a lot of my stuff from like Native American accounts too. I am aware of some of the stuff they talk about, and I do believe in a lot of it. There's definitely a lot there, information wise. But at the same time, I did recently even experience with one of our friends here on their channel, and there was someone in chat who I recently became friends with. Is it Monk out there causing trouble?
Yeah, Monk with the jokes. Yeah, he's with the jokes tonight.
I love him. I love Monk, man. And so this channel, great channel, very good friend and everything. And they were talking about this, and then someone in chat had a question because someone in chat mentioned that is only three of them that could speak to the Sasquatch people. And I was like, whoa, okay, well, I don't know, but I do believe that's possible, but only 3 people. And someone in chat questioned, and they kind of like, they ate them up, and I think they even got blocked for a bit. And I was like, whoa, that wasn't cool, but I do believe, there's more than 3 people that can do it, and is it possible? Yes, I do believe it's happening. And so, I do believe it's happened to me in certain ways, real subtle, but not to where like I'm having, full on conversations and they're giving me information. I don't think I'm at that level yet or anything. But subtle little things I'll hear in my head for sure.
Wow. Interesting.
Thank you, Susie B. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate you. Thank you.
For sure. Once again,
Joe Monk is getting pizza for chat.
Yeah, pizza and beers, man. That's what Joe's doing.
I know he's got beer too.
I've never seen the man, but I guarantee he's always got a beer in his hand.
Oh yeah, he's the Grass Valley monster. He's got Sasquatch up in his areas, and he's up in the Sierra Nevadas.
Wow.
And he's definitely in a good area, and I would like to talk to him more. I can't wait to go over to Joe Monk's.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's another guy I got to look up because he's in your area, right? Or he's in. Yep. See, all you cool people live in
Hey, no, you're in cool areas too, you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Go and travel and see you guys.
It is. It's pretty cool where I live, actually.
Michigan's got a lot of the urban Sasquatch thing going on. I hear a lot of reports, even the news reports where they're talking about in urban areas, all the Sasquatch reports that they're getting, man. It's far out. Really cool stuff.
We've got it all in Michigan. We have, of course, we're the dogman capital of the world, for one. I mean, we got that. We got Sasquatch. Then we've got the mysterious lakes, the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
All the haunted lighthouses, haunted restaurants.
You got it to know the world. The world's got it, man. We got it. It's all here, and we always I'm always wanting to go somewhere else, but no, it's got to be comfortable here where I am now, and it's all happening here, you guys. So
and it's funny because I think they're everywhere. We had Mike on, Long Island Mike, and I don't care what comments people leave. This guy says, I doubt that there's Sasquatch in Long Island. I'm like, well, dude, you'd be surprised where they're at. And not to mention Long Island, that backs up to the mountains anyway. You got the Appalachians out there. I mean, the one report that I got that I was really I tell you what, one of the reports I really kind of did not believe was reports of a Sasquatch, not a big one, like a 6-footer, in downtown Detroit rummaging through dumpsters. But you got to remember, and I thought, that's not, no. But then I started digging into this, and, they travel via the water, and this section of town was right on the Detroit River. And what's not across the Detroit River? Islands, forests, big enough where they can hang out. So they're anywhere and everywhere. You know, I even thought Nebraska. Someone said, yeah, they're in Nebraska. And I'm thinking they're just cornfields. It
Yeah.
don't matter. If you live in the United States or North America, you got them.
Yeah. Well, you know, somebody had told me I'm in Missouri outside of St. Louis, and somebody had told me that there was a dogman sighting underneath the St. Louis Arch, and that's downtown, you know, but again, it's right on the Mississippi River, you know, and they travel by the waterways. So
there you go.
Yeah. Judy Wheeler says water is life. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we got one right outside of here where I told you the foothills of the Angeles National Forest here, and it made the news, and this guy recorded what looked like a small monkey running through the tree or gliding through the tree there. And up above in these mountains is where we have found stick structures, and I even found like some weird hair next to some of these structures. So and obviously reports out of this area, man. And then I'm just wow, they're down in town. It was right behind like a YMCA.
Yeah. You just never know. There isn't any rules where they can be found, you know?
No, there's no, you know, it was that myth maybe 20 years ago that you can only find them in the PNW, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
nope.
Now they might be bigger because they're more expansive land, right? And they're more free, maybe, right? They might get bigger than like here in Michigan, let's say. And that's might be a fallacy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and there's a guy up your way, Rob. I believe it's Aboriginal.
Michigan Aborigine. Yes, I subscribe to him.
And I've been good friends with him for a while, and we've shared a lot of the similar stuff, and he finds a lot of the similar structures, and he's doing a lot of the urban research out of your area there. So I definitely check him out.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple cool cats in Michigan I like to get a hold of. I got to bring this up before we go because it's a little alien talk. It's Los Angeles. I'm infatuated. Do you think there are aliens? I hear people say that there are people in LA they literally think that they are aliens in our bodies walking around, and you can point them out. Have you heard such? What do you think? You got that going on?
I've always felt that, you guys, Krista and Rob. Yeah, I always say, man, you can walk down Hollywood Boulevard and you can find your cryptids and aliens right there. I feel the same way about Las Vegas Strip, Times Square. So wherever these big, you can find them there. They're amongst us for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever get that feeling? Did you ever see someone think, man, they're not right? There's something, they're not from this world.
Yeah, you see it. I've ran into a lot of strange people, man, for sure. And I'm just like, I question. I'm like, dude, and they've told me sometimes there's, I can't think off the bat, but I've ran into some strange people, and you question, could it be drugs, alcohol, and all that? And those could be factors as well. The mental health, once again. But, you got to wonder and question, man. And I've heard of an underground city. There is underground tunnels under LA, but there's a whole thing of reptilians under LA. You guys look that up. And I heard recently the statistics were that, and you got to fact check me on this, that LA is, if not the top county with UFO sightings right now.
Well, didn't the military have a shootout with aliens or something back?
There was the Battle of LA. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. What I thought.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one. That's an old one, throwback. Yeah. But I've been hearing about it lately, and there's a lot of information there that is just pretty mind blowing.
Yeah.
And and I recently captured what I believe is a UFO outside of the shop. It was a military chopper flying over. I recorded it. Something told me to pop out the camera and record the chopper. Got the chopper, and I was going in on it later, and noticed this object zipping behind it. And I did upload this, and I had a buddy, Carlos, UFO Skywatch out of Portugal. He went in, zoomed in, and we feel it was a metallic object and pretty strange. I could send that over to you, Rob, for you guys to check out as well. And so
there's a whole bunch of stuff you can send over to me. It's been a fantastic show.
And then you got the whole balloon and all that situation going on right now. So it's happening, you guys. Hey, get a grip. 2023.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And then you got UFO sightings you just mentioned, but you've got them. You got everything.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys keep your cameras ready.
Yeah,
and stay tuned.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, man, I know that my mods have been dropping your links where to find you, but why don't you go ahead publicly? Where can we find you? And what else? You got any links? Anything else you want to before we cut you?
Yeah. So I don't cut me.
Oh yeah, cut you loose for today.
Yeah. So I recently changed my YouTube, so it's Brown_Dwarf, and it's capital B. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I know it was really difficult to find before. So I threw in the underscore to make it a little easier. And then the TikTok is Brown_Dwarf 420.
Yeah, and Brown Dwarf does have some cool stuff on TikTok. I follow you on TikTok. You got some neat stuff on there.
Yeah, it's all information, news, reels.
I'll find you today and follow you on TikTok.
Definitely, I'll follow back. And thank you guys once again. I'm honored and appreciate it. You guys stay safe. Much love to everyone out there. Let the love vibes reverberate through the world there, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
We will, Brown Dwarf, man. Fantastic show.
Sure.
Everybody, go check out Brown Dwarf. Follow him on YouTube, his TikTok, everything else. And he's all around. We all know Brown Dwarf because he's in all the chat rooms. He gives support and love to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we love him. I got to meet this guy in person.
Yeah,
we didn't. And by the way, Brown Dwarf has got a set of cool, really kick-ass bandanas that I am going to be picking up from him. Well, however we work the deal out, I can't wait to sport those. I'm gonna kind of wait maybe till spring, summer to finally flash it because they are sweet. And thanks for that. We'll be getting in touch with that one too. Yeah,
for sure. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Everybody, Krista, what you got going on tonight?
Tonight we have Rob Damaris from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International from Travel Channel.
Wow,
very nice. I'll be sure to tune into that one. Everybody, please tune into Krista, the Blondes and Blues Paranormal Podcast. Subscribe to Brown Dwarf, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Texas Front Porch. We got Bobby Van Buren out there and Jason's Serial Papers. A lot of great shows across the board. Thank you so much for coming in and spending your early afternoon with us for brunch. Yes. Until next time, for Krista, for Brown Dwarf, we are out. As soon as I find the extra, and there it is. See you, everybody.